Well then, round 12 trades are here. Didn't we just have some interesting news with the Joe Ofahengaue trade mid-season to the Eels? So I think that really helps out both sides. It get rid of a fair bit of that cash off the books for the Tigers and gives Eels a much needed mid, especially coming into round 13 where you will see RCG out with his injury and Junior Paulo out there with his origin commitments, which he will be there for sure. So if you're looking at guys like Hopgood, if you're looking at Davey, if you're looking at Cartwright, I think it really hurts Cartwright, likely, to be honest with you. He was the last guy to make it back into that starting squad, so I'd say he is the first to go. And in the weeks that Paulo is going to be out for Origin, I don't think it changes much. But in the weeks that he is back in 15, in then 17, and 17. Yeah, that's right. So 15, 17, those weeks that are non-origin affected, unless guys are, backing up in 17 or something like that. I really see that as the only time in this bye period that is going to be a factor in our, in our sides or affecting guys like Hopgood. So you'd say at a minimum in round 13, Hopgood would still play massive minutes and still get a good score. This week as well, Joe won't be there. He'll be moving, I'd say he won't play for the Tigers this weekend, and he will be moving in. He'll kind of acclimatise himself to the squad, and then he'll be in that starting side, I'd say, in round 13 with Joe being, with Barlow being out, or he'll come off the bench and play some decent minutes. So if you're looking at when would be a good time to maybe pick Ofahengaue up, it's likely going to be in round 15, and I think that's going to be the best time for me to look at him. He won't play this weekend. Likely, I'm not exactly sure, but he shouldn't play this weekend. He will likely play next week in the bye. They play, obviously, but it's in round 13. And then he still has a high break even, in the high 40s there. He's priced at 460, so if he can go under that again, or at least close to it, he then bottoms out and he can make us some money and score well. If he can get 50 to 55 minutes, because we saw what he did last year. He was a 750k gun. So that's where I'm looking at him in round 15, especially when I'm going to have a bunch of guys in the mid out in round 16. I think that's a good time to get him. Round 13, if you're picking up Hopgood this week, if you're looking at guys like Garrick, if you're looking at Burbo, these types of players, then I don't think you can get another guy that doesn't play in 14. So, Joe would be one of those guys. If you're potentially having to play him and Hopgood in the mids, then you're cooked in round 14. So that's where I think 15 is a good time to bring him in. You get at least a week to look at him, and you can make your decision on that one. So that's that situation, guys. If you have any questions around that, I think Mattos potentially does move to an edge, or he still play, at a minimum, he's going to play his same role. He's been playing 50 to 55 minutes. I don't think that lowers at all. So we're going into our trades, and the People's Squad actually haven't settled or finalized their trades this week. This is where it happens, guys. The People's Squad thread on the left here in the JBFA community on Discord is where you want to help make the decisions for our People's Squad. So this is where we're at the moment. Scoop will put the team in there. He'll give a little spiel on some of the good, some of the bad, and then we can work out where we're at. And currently for round 13, we're missing 4 players at this stage, with Nicarima being an extra in that half position. So we do need to get a hooker for round 13, 2 mids, and also a wing fullback. So the mid seems the easiest to get at this point. He's talking about, we can get 4 trades starting for next week. Do we want to use them all then, or do we want to go for it now? And we have a vote system, 0, 1, 2, and 3. So it looks like 2 has 1 out at the moment. 18 trades remaining, 117 in the bank. He's got the trade outs, Hosking, Manu potentially, and then trade in. So they're the 2 main trade outs, which is a little bit obviously interesting with the Manu one. Considering we have that couple extra trades on a lot of people, I think Manu trading out is not the worst thing in the world. The bring-ins are Hopgood, 21 and 4 don't like him as a trade-in, which is interesting. Edges, we got Papali'i as an option, and considering I think we need someone, more players for round 13. I don't know if Papali'i is the right trade-in this week. I think it would be 14. Billy Smith makes sense. Garrick makes sense, considering we need wing fullback as well. So they're the options at the moment, and then Captain Cleary in that one. So we haven't decided yet on who these trades are going to be, and that will happen over the next little bit. But if you're looking at the team from that perspective, then if we were to make those type of trades, we need 1 wing fullback, so Garrick could work in that scenario. Madison not playing in 14, we really need some mids coming in. So I really think that some options in there could be one of those cheaper guys, like a Totola, like a Flegler. Those types of guys could work out really well for us heading into round 13, considering we are a little bit short on that front in the mid. So that's what I'm looking at the moment. I think if you're looking at hooking stocks, then do you Do you end up bringing in a Jeremy Marshall-King? Do you get a Robson, or do we just leave that hooking position, play with 12, and we obviously have guys like Tanner Boyd who can come in and play that hooking position in 14 if Grant doesn't play, or we can decide from there as what we want to do a little bit later with the hooking position, but we would need to fill the other spots, so 2 mids and that wing fullback. So Garrick would solve that now, but then we have some thoughts and things to work out heading into the next bunch of games. We don't need another edge. We need 2 mids, we need a hooker, and we need a wing fullback. So think of this in your side as well when you're looking to make your trades. So yeah, very, very interesting how that's working out. Now Preston might have to be a trade out because we need to be able to get a mid. Does Manu go straight to one of those gun mids? Do we trade one of our guys to a Tohu Harris next week? Does Hopgood, is it Hopgood and Harris that are going to be the 2? Is it Totola? And then we can bring in a Garrick. Is there, do we have space to be able to get Robson? These are the questions we need to ask in the People Squad, and we will definitely work that out as we go. So yeah, that's the team where it's sitting at the moment. 117 in the bank, 18 trades remaining, sitting in a solid spot, obviously at the moment, with the rank down to 2100, which is great. So let's look at my team now, and I have decided to make the 2 trades, and I think I'm just going to stick with it. Considering I came into this week having 9 players available for round 13, it's very hard to just wait on Hosking and leave him in the side. So this week, unfortunately, can't go McInnes straight to Hopgood. I'm not too keen. I'm not too keen on like Davey for now. I spoke about centre position and wanting to get someone in that's going to make some cash and is going to be available for obviously 14 definitely. 16 is the big one, and that's Billy Smith. So he comes in there in that one. Tommy Talau, I do have him as around 16 playable centre or wing fullback, and he might just have to stay there in this case. And he's one of those guys that if there is an injury or suspension, he could just slot in for that 15 or 20 points. And look, it's not the worst thing in the world. Hopefully he doesn't find one of his negative games in that time. So that's probably why he's just going to sit. I think I'm going to leave Manu in there just because the centre and the wing fullback position is really tough. Bringing in another one there, it does cover a few positions, and we can also move up a Lem or a Bird to an edge position if there is a suspension or an injury in that one as well. So definitely something to think about. Lockie Miller is out in round 14, guys, so that is also something you need to have on your radar, which means that likely we're going to need a wing fullback that's going to play in that week as well. So who do you bring in after round 13 to cover from there onwards? And there's obviously going to be a few guys, and Dylan Edwards is definitely on my radar. So that's where I think guys I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to hold Cleary and Hines, just because I'm going to be wanting to be able to get a bunch of really good players that obviously cover a few different positions. So I'll give you my plan while we're here. At the moment, it's McInnes and Hosking will go to Hopgood and also Billy Smith. Okay, so I'm sitting now with 10 players heading into round 13. My likely trades next week, considering I have 14 trades remaining after this one, which is not ideal, but it almost allows me 2 trades per week up until the end of round 20. Which is okay. You're sitting there. That means that I'm going to have to do 1 trade or 0 trades in round 15, I'd say, and then 1 or 0 also in round 18, which seems like it'd be fair to do as well, considering that's a non-origin or bye affected round, and only 1 team on the bye, which at the moment is the Eels. So do we have to trade one of them out in 17 or in 18? That could be the way that plays out, for example. But next week, with 180k in the bank, it might have to be Trent Leora out to Tohu Harris, and then Teddy out to Walshy if he doesn't make Origin. So that's my general current thoughts. If it is Walshy playing Origin, then it might have to be Drinkwater who comes in for Teddy there. So that's the thoughts on that one. Holding Manu means good news. We can slot him back into the fullback position, which is ideal. That's where Manu would come back into fullback for Miller, which is great in round 14. And then I'd have Teddy with Walsh. Buller continues to play, which we need him for one, and thankfully he's doing pretty well. So that would be where I'm at. Teddy up to Walsh, probably about 100k. That's going to need maybe a little bit more. If Teddy goes shocking, might be 120k. And then I'd say 50 at worst. I think Trent, unless he gets injured, is going to be up in price or at least stay the same. And then you've got Tohu Harris, who's not super expensive there at what, 660 odd? I believe 672. So 671. So really, I think I'd just be able to make those 2 trades next week, and then potentially we do Cleary or Hines. If I am able to do that, and that goes to a round 13 player, great. But likely we also hold them if we decide to do that trade instead, it would be trading on from Cleary or Hines instead of trading Lioro, because that would then be available for 14, 15, 16 and onwards from there. Guys I'm looking to target in round 13, as I said, is Tohu Harris. So that would be the play. And then in round 14, Isaiah Papali'i is going to be the play in that one. Guys I'm looking to move on from. If I do move on from Cleary or Hines, that means I have space to go Ai Katoa, who will have done his job for us, obviously making good cash and getting us through the buy period, obviously getting us through that middle part of the that early to middle part of the season that we were looking at. And then there would be one other guy that we decide to move on from, and that's where it's likely to be Trent Lioro to move on as well. As I said, it's a mixture of certain guys that I'm going to have to upgrade, and Trent's probably one of those guys. It's not a clear keeper, and I would use him, now that I've gone Isaiah Papali'i, I would have him in there with Hopgood. I would then be able to play Lukey and Isaiah Papali'i in 14, which would work out well. Trent would be moved on probably to Dylan Edwards, and considering he's one of the best wing fullbacks at the moment, once he's got through his bye in round 13, unless there's an injury to Teddy that stops him from playing Origin, then Edwards will be sweet all the way through until round 19. I think that's going to be really important in a very terrible wing fullback position there for sure. So that's what I'm looking at the moment. It would involve trading on one of those two guys, but that would easily allow me to do all of those trades. I have Brandon Smith to cover the hooking position in round 15, which is great. I have plenty of mids. I'll have Joe O coming in 15 as well, like I was speaking about a little bit earlier, but that would be an easy trade like Isaiah Katoa straight to Joe Offengawe. Something like that will be the general play over those few weeks. So that would mean, as I said, 2 trades this week, 2 trades next week, likely, whether it's Cleary, whether it's Trent Lioro, and then in round 14, round 15, it would be that, 2 trades next week, and then another 2 in 14, and then potentially 1 or something like that, or 0 in 15. Yeah, likely just to be Joe O. I'm obviously trying to confuse myself here as I'm talking, but I'm hoping you guys can keep up with that one as well. Just a little heads up before we finish this video, I'm actually going to continue making videos over the off season, but it won't be on NRL, and there will be a little bit through the season as well. Obviously, for the majority of you guys, I have a very strong cricket background, like playing a decent level, playing with a lot of the stars you see now that play in the Big Bash, and got to play with Smithy and all that kind of stuff. I'm interested in doing some videos around cricket, actually. So what I've noticed on YouTube is there's no real reaction style, analysis style after the Ashes game. Each day of the Ashes, I do a reaction video where I analyze how the game's played. Obviously a lot of people won't be able to watch all of the Ashes games, considering they start sort of 8 o'clock at night and go in through the morning. I'd be able to do a little bit of a reaction to that and try and tap into a further audience along with my NRL Fantasy crew. I'd be able to do NRL Fantasy side of things, be able to do the cricket side, especially focusing on the Australian cricket team with the Ashes and then the Australian summer to go along with a bit of Big Bash as well. So let me know. Really, all I want to know is if you guys would be interested in any of that. Obviously, it would be a mixture of you guys and then trying to bring in a newer audience as well. And then nothing would change with NRL Fantasy. I would just add in some of these cricket videos and be able to still make content over the off season, because I really found it a bit weird and a bit tough over that for 4 or so months that the content really slows down for NRL. So let me know if that would be of interest to you. I know a lot of you guys watch the footy in the winter, and then get into your cricket in the off season or in the summer months as well. So yeah, let me know in the comments or in DM or something if that would interest you. That'd be really helpful. And I actually did buy a new mic, guys, so that's coming in the next few days. So we're trying to upgrade a little bit as we go on 3 or so, almost 4 years now. We're doing this, so very exciting, and thankful for you guys for watching, and I hope this video helped you with strategy over the next few weeks and getting you to a really good rank and a really good score. So big thank you, and see you later.